Hey, I'm Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and I'm shooting this video today because Kaweco is back at Goulet Pens. This is a brand that we had a couple of years ago. We dropped it because we were having some issues inventorying their stuff. They've since changed distributors. Terms are a little more favorable for a retailer like us, so we picked the brand back up and wanted to reintroduce it to you. Now, if you're not familiar with Kaweco, that's okay. I'm going to cover some of the basics in this video. I've also got several other videos I've done in the past that talk about Kaweco, and I'll put links and stuff to those. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, for those of you not familiar with Kaweco, it is a brand that comes out of Germany. I believe that the proper way to say it would be Kaweco, but everybody that I know calls it Kaweco, so that's what I call it. They have a couple of different pens, but they're very small pens, little pocket pens, pretty cool. One of the most popular things to do with this pen is to convert it into an eyedropper. That's how I originally stumbled upon this pen, gosh, years ago when I first got into pens. The first couple of months I had gotten into them, I stumbled upon this pen. It takes standard international cartridges, but it's too short to fit a conventional standard international converter. However, the threads are really tight on here, and you can convert this to an eyedropper, and with a little bit of silicone grease on these threads, you can screw it in there and have a nice little pocket pen with a really high ink capacity, and it's relatively inexpensive too. It's only 27 bucks for one of these pens. I do have a video on doing the eyedropper conversion and also troubleshooting the eyedropper conversion as well, because anytime you do something to an eyedropper, there's always a potential for leaking. So I have another video that kind of points out some of those, how to overcome some of that. You know, it's pretty cool. So it's a pretty neat little pen. I always kind of liked them. They got a nice nib range. You know, they go extra fine up through, I think, double broad, and they've got some metallic nibs as well. Now, one thing I will say is just getting back into it here at Goulet Pens, we're not going to stock everything because it's a new distributor. It's kind of limited stock at first. I think we're going to fine and medium, and then we're going to expand the nib sizes over time as the distributor picks them up and has more available. We're going to expand colors and stuff like that. But as of right now, we have the Classic Sport and the Ice Sport. I've got, you know, a few Ice Sports here. I've got some Classics as well, different colors. Right now it's only fine and medium, but there's gonna be more nibs that are come available. But I just wanted to show you at least the options I have for you right now. I've got clear, hunter green, black, blue, it's kind of a navy color, white, and then a dark kind of burgundy. And then in the ice, got blue, my personal favorite, pink, red, and green. The only difference between the Classic and the Ice Sport is basically the color of the pen. The pens themselves are identical. However, the Classic Sport has a solid body and it has gold trim. So it's got a little gold accent in the cap, and it's got a gold plated nib. Still stainless steel nib, it's just got gold plating. The Ice Sport has clear body and then a translucent cap and grip section that's either red or blue or green or somewhat, whatever the color is. It's still more like a demonstrator style, and then it's got rhodium plated trim. Still stainless steel nib, but rhodium plating. So, however, it's what's really cool about the Ice is that it's got that clear body, so if you are converting to an eyedropper, it's really cool because you can watch the ink slosh around and stuff like that. You can also do that if you have the Classic Sport and you have the clear one, then you can do that same kind of thing. I've got a cartridge in there right now, but you can see that that's how it would work. So if you're a fan of cartridges and you have a good stock of standard internationals laying around, this is great. You can just pick up the pen, don't have to worry about any accessories, and you can go on your merry way. It does come with one blue cartridge. However, that's only going to last you but so long. So you either need to figure out how to do your eyedropper conversion, or you need to get a converter. Now, this won't take a standard international regular converter. Previously, when we carried these pens, the only converter that I had heard about that would fit it was the Monteverde mini converter, which is this little plunger thing. And I heard it was kind of hit or miss. So sometimes it would be okay, sometimes it wouldn't. It was a little bit long, so it would actually press in the plunger a little bit when you assembled the pen together. Wasn't ideal, but for those who didn't want an eyedropper or cartridge, it was really your only option. However, in the last year or so, Kaweco has come out with their own aerometric converter. I didn't realize I had water in there. Their own aerometric converter. So if you want to use a converter with your Kaweco, you can do that now, because this little aerometric guy will fit in here, and then when you assemble the pen, there's plenty of room left over in there. You're not going to deal with any issues. The ink capacity is going to be about that of a cartridge, probably around 0.5 milliliter or so, which is what most other converters will be if you can get this thing filled all the way. So it's a pretty good option, and especially if you're going to be using an ink syringe to fill this thing, I would highly recommend that as being the easiest option. So I'm really glad that that's come out this go around. The other kind of neat thing about these pens is, they don't come with a clip, but you can get a clip if you want. It's just a little slide-on clip. Now I will say that it's not like the best clip arrangement I've ever seen in my life, mainly because it's just kind of friction fit holding on there. So it's maybe not 100% ideal, because if you've got a piece of clothing that's really thick, it'll have the tendency to want to slide the clip off like so before it wants to clip on. So, it may be hit or miss. The clip may or may not be for you. However, I find this pen is great as just kind of like a knock-around, carry-around pen. If you are going to be carrying it around in a purse or something like that all the time and you're eyedropper converting it, I would recommend putting it in a Ziploc bag or something if you're going to be carrying it around a lot, especially in the heat of the summer. But other than that, I would say that this is a pretty great pen for that purpose. I do have a few videos that I've already put out there about the Kaweco. Now this was several years ago. You're gonna see back when I was shooting in my bedroom, before I had an office. And it's kind of funny, actually. I'm quite a bit heavier. It's really interesting. If you haven't seen the videos from back then anyway, it's pretty interesting. You can see my dirty laundry in my bedroom and everything. So I have a couple of videos. I did one on converting a Kaweco to an eyedropper, which that one still holds up. So definitely, even though it's a couple of years old, you can still check out that video. I've got eyedropper troubleshooting, which is good because anytime you convert something to an eyedropper, there's always a potential for leakage. So I cover some of the challenges, I guess, that you can have with an eyedropper converting in that one. And then I've got one on nib size comparison. Now it doesn't cover every nib size because at the time I made that video I didn't have everything in, but at least gives you something to go off of. Now you can also check out the Nib Nook and the Pen Plaza on gouletpens.com to see how the Kaweco nibs stack up to other pens, and you can also use the Pen Plaza to see about what size the Kaweco is to other pens, mainly because these pens are so kind of different in different shape and size than most other pens, so that tool will definitely be helpful for you there. So we're starting out with the Classic Sport and the Ice Sport. There are some other pens we've got our eyes on. The All Sport is one. It's an aluminum version of the same pen. Much more expensive, but it's pretty classy looking. And though it can't be converted to an eyedropper because it is made of aluminum, you can use that converter for it. So that kind of makes it a little more appealing back when it was, back before it was 2 years ago. So I'm interested to check that one out again. Not going to carry it right away, but I might if there's some interest in it. So if you have interest in it, let me know. Also, some other pens we're looking at, like the Lilliput and stuff that Kaweco's done. They've got some other really kind of cool pens that are a little more expensive that I'm definitely open to investigating if there's demand for it. So if there's any Kaweco stuff that you have questions about or that you're interested in, please, let's start the conversation going here. So you can post in the comments here on YouTube or on Ink Nouveau, or you can ask on Facebook or Twitter or whatever channel that you have to get in contact with me or anybody on my team. Go ahead and ask, and we'd love to help you out. So thanks so much for giving me some time today and for watching my video. And as always, right on.